Let me tell you a story they tried to bury in the dust of dead empires, a story of angels whispering secrets to prophets, of a war older than humanity itself, and of a book so dangerous it was banned, burned, and locked away for 2,000 years. This is the Book of Jubilees, and today we're cracking it open. But fair warning, what you're about to hear will shake your understanding of time, history, and the very fabric of reality. This isn't just a lost book. It's a divine countdown to the end of the world. You've been lied to. The Bible you know, it's the tip of the iceberg. What's beneath? A hidden timeline, a cosmic chess game, and you are a pawn in God's master plan. Let's begin, before they silence this truth again. Imagine a world where time itself is a weapon, where a single year holds the power to unlock heaven's mysteries. This is the Jubilee Code, a 49-year cycle so sacred, so dangerous, that ancient priests guarded it with their lives. But here's the truth they never wanted you to know. Moses didn't write the law alone. A secret covenant, older than sin, was whispered to him on Mount Sinai. A timeline divine, a war eternal. And humanity? We're caught in the middle. This isn't religion, this is cosmic espionage, and you've got a front row seat. Let's start with the biggest deception in human history: time. We're taught it's linear, chaotic, unstoppable. But Jubilee says otherwise. It reveals a 364-day solar calendar, perfect, mathematical, and ripped straight from the throne room of God. This isn't just a calendar, it's a weaponized timeline, a divine algorithm coded into the cosmos. Every day, every hour, every heartbeat, synced to a rhythm older than the pyramids. But here's the catch. This calendar doesn't match the world we live in. Why? Because someone hacked the system. The lunar calendar? A fake, a counterfeit, a psyop cooked up by the powers of darkness to throw humanity off course. Think about it. 12 messy months, leap years, dates that slide into chaos. Jubilees calls it the corruption of the times, a deliberate sabotage to make us lost, confused, and slaves to chaos. But the sun? It's God's metronome, a blazing stopwatch screaming, "Stay on schedule." Every solstice, every equinox, a beacon burning through the lies. The Essenes, radical desert monks, knew this. They tracked the sun like snipers, aligning their prayers, their harvests, their wars to its pulse. But the temple priests? They sold out, swapped God's clock for a broken toy, and the fallout? We're still paying for it. Let me break it down. The solar calendar isn't just math, it's theocracy in motion. 52 weeks, 12 months of 30 days each, 4 flawless seasons, no leftovers, no guesswork. A machine so precise it predicted eclipses millennia before NASA. But the lunar calendar? It's a mess. Months that wobble, years that stutter. A system so flawed, even farmers couldn't plant crops without priestly guidance. Coincidence? No. This was Control 101. Keep the masses dependent. Keep them begging for answers. And who profited? The same corrupt priests charging for sacrifices, selling indulgences, playing gatekeepers to God. But Jubilees exposes them. It says Abraham knew the solar calendar. Noah used it to predict the flood. Even Adam counted days by the sun's rhythm before the serpent slithered in. But the powers of darkness hate order. They infiltrated the temple. They corrupted the priests. And they replaced God's clock with a broken lie. Why? Because chaos is their oxygen. Uncertainty is their currency. And humanity? We're the mark in their rigged game. Enter the Essenes, a radical sect of warrior monks who said enough. These weren't just holy men, they were prophetic spies, guarding the truth like a state secret. They lived in caves, ate locusts, and memorized the solar calendar like a nuclear codes. Why? Because they knew. Whoever controls time controls destiny. Jubilees was their manifesto, their countdown to Judgment Day. They believed history moves in 49-year cycles, a divine rhythm where every 7th cycle brings total reset. Debts wiped, slaves freed, the world reborn. But to pull it off, they had to stay on schedule, no exceptions. A wind-up toy slowly dying, a Jubilee clock ticking backward. But here's the kicker. The Essenes didn't just predict the end. They scheduled it, calculated the exact year, month, day when heaven would crash into earth. And according to their math, we're in the 49th cycle, the final countdown, the moment when the solar clock strikes midnight and everything changes. But their story? It's darker than you think. The Essenes didn't just hide scrolls, they hid bodies. When Roman legions stormed Qumran, they found caves littered with skeletons, Men who'd rather die than betray the calendar. Why? Because they knew the truth. Lose the timeline. Lose the war. A young Essene man's voice, panicked. Ezra, they're at the gates. The Romans, and worse, the ones who walk in daylight but serve the moon. A second Essene, older, responds in a gravelly whisper. Then it's time. Seal the jars. Bury them deep. Let the sands hide what heaven ordained. Suddenly, a bestial growl, unhuman, echoes through the cave. The young man gasps. What is that? The Nephilim spawn, the elder mutters. Mastema's hounds, they smell the truth. The Essenes chant a prayer in unison, revealing shadowy figures crawling on the cave walls. Now, let's pull back the veil on the war that shattered eternity itself. Jubilees doesn't just whisper about angels, it names them, ranks them, exposes their treason in blood-soaked detail. This isn't a fairy tale. This is cosmic mutiny. Meet Mastema, the original architect of chaos, the devil before Satan, the general who turned heaven's legions against their creator. This wasn't some garden snake. This was a strategist who weaponized ambition itself. His rebellion wasn't a riot, it was a calculated coup. He didn't just fall from grace, he dragged entire choirs of angels into the abyss. And his first act? Rewriting humanity's destiny. But God didn't flinch. He launched a counterattack. The Watchers, elite angelic guardians sent to Earth to teach humanity justice, healing, and truth. But power corrupts, even angels. Some Watchers looked at mankind's frailty and saw weakness. Others saw opportunity. These fallen Watchers didn't just disobey, they infected the world. They took human wives not out of love, but to breed a new army. Their children? The Nephilim, giants with appetites that could devour cities. Bones so massive, their skeletons were mistaken for mountains. Jubilees says they drank rivers dry, crushed armies barehanded, and screamed challenges at God himself. But here's the killer secret Jubilees spills. The Nephilim's DNA didn't die. It's still here. In our wars, our greed, our bloodthirst. Mastema didn't just want to rule heaven, he wanted to recreate it on Earth. A kingdom of monsters, a dynasty of chaos. And he's still patient, still waiting. Because every act of cruelty, every lie, every drop of spilled blood, it's fertilizer for his return. Think I'm spinning myths? In 2017, researchers in Turkey dug up a skull with double rows of teeth and a cranial capacity twice the human norm. In Nevada, ranchers still swap stories of red-haired giants that howl in the desert night. And Mastema? He laughs from the void because we're still playing his game. The Watchers' forbidden arts? They're still alive too. Sorcery? Today's algorithms manipulate billions. Weaponry? We've traded swords for nukes. Astrology? The zodiac is a chain around humanity's neck sold to us as harmless fun. But Jubilees warned us. Mastema's poison is in the dose, not the flavor. A computer keyboard clicking morphs into a spell chanted in reverse. Visuals, satellites orbiting Earth, their paths tracing occult symbols across the globe. Here's the kicker. This war never ended. The battlefield just shifted. From heaven's gates to your mind. Every time you choose rage over mercy, division over unity, you reload Mastema's gun. But Jubilees also hands us the blueprint to fight back, because the Watcher's fall wasn't the end. It was the first shot. In a war we're meant to win. Don't look away. This war is yours. Your ancestors heard the Watcher's whispers. Your blood carries their cursed legacy. But it also holds their unfinished mission. The question is, which side will you arm? Now, we arrive at the moment that shatters reality itself. Moses on Sinai. But forget the flannel board Bible stories, the sanitized Sunday school versions. Jubilees pulls back the curtain. Moses didn't just get commandments, he was hacked into the source code of history. A live stream of every triumph, every atrocity, every heartbeat from Eden to Armageddon. This wasn't a sermon, it was a cosmic docuseries, and we're in the finale. He saw empires rise and fall, not as dry facts, but as blood-soaked spectacles. Babylon's gardens drenched in slave sweat, Rome's legions crucifying thousands in a single day, the temple's stones crumbling as flames swallowed the ark itself. But he also saw Jesus, 1,500 years before Bethlehem, walking dusty roads, healing the broken, and hanging on a cross as storms tore the sky. And then, he saw us, right now, this era, this exact moment, the 49th Jubilee cycle. The final lap before the reset. But here's what terrified Moses. He saw your face, your struggles, your addictions, your late-night doom scrolling. He He saw the exact date the world would invent social media, fossil fuels, and genetic editing. He saw TikTok dances and terrorist cells. And when he begged the angel, "Why show me this?" the answer froze his blood. Because you must warn them. Why was this vision erased? Because knowledge is control. Imagine if every human knew their exact role in the divine script, knew their death date, their legacy, their price tag. How do you rule slaves who've read the master's ledger? You can't. So the powers that be buried Jubilees in a cave, drenched its pages in lies, and sold us a censored version of reality. But the vision couldn't be killed. It leaked into our DNA, into our myths, into every dystopian novel, every sci-fi film, every gut feeling that something's off. Moses saw Mark of the Beast algorithms tracking your every click. He saw wars in the sky, not with arrows but satellites. He saw a land divided not by rivers but by QR codes that decide who eats, who dies, who's allowed to exist. And he saw the number 6666, not carved on foreheads, but encoded in the binary DNA of AI gods were begging to rule us. Yet here's the twist they never taught you. Moses didn't just watch the future, he changed it. His prayers, his choices, his rage at the vision sent ripples through time. That's why Jubilees was buried, not because it predicts fate, but because it empowers you to rewrite it. The 49th cycle isn't a death sentence, it's a fire alarm, a wake-up call to stop the loop. Moses' voice echoing raw with terror. I see a land divided, brothers killing brothers over pixels, machines of iron that think, wars in the sky fought with light, children traded like crypto, and a number, 666, carved not on flesh, but into the souls of men. An angelic voice responds, this is the 49th cycle, the end of one age, and the labor pains of the next. Moses screaming, how do I stop it? Tell me how to save them. The angelic voice responds softly, you can't, but they can, if they see what you see, if they choose to break the wheel. This is why they feared Jubilees. Not because it's prophecy, but because it's a mirror. Moses saw us staring back, not as victims, but as puppets who cut our own strings. The 49th cycle? It's now. The war isn't coming, it's here. And every lie you swallow, every distraction you binge, every truth you ignore, that's Mastema's ammo. But Jubilees hands you the gun and dares you to aim it back. Here's the truth they're terrified you'll realize. We're living in the 49th year, the razor's edge of the Jubilee. The exact moment when ancient laws written in starlight demand every debt erased, every chain shattered, every system reborn. This isn't metaphor, it's mathematical certainty. The chaos you see, the wars, the collapse, it's the old world screaming its last breath. The banks, the governments, the algorithms, they're not crashing, they're purging, flushing the poison from the system. Because the Jubilee isn't a suggestion, it's a law of creation, and tonight, it's enforced. Think this is fantasy? In 586 BCE, the Jubilee toppled Babylon. In 70 AD, it leveled Rome's temples. And now, it's here. The 49th year isn't a countdown, it's a detonation. Look around, crypto empires collapsing overnight. AI overlords glitching, borders dissolving like wet paper. This isn't chaos, it's liberation by design. But the powers that be won't die quietly. They're fighting back. Printing fake money, censoring truth, selling you digital cages as freedom. They're terrified because they know the 49th year exposes their game. Their wealth, illusion. Their control, a con. Their time, up. Here's your power. The Watcher's blood courses in your veins. Their rebellion, your inheritance. That itch you feel, the rage at injustice, the gut-deep knowing that this isn't how it's supposed to be, that's divine code in your DNA. The calendar isn't just a map, it's a weapon. And the Jubilee, your spear through the dragon's heart. Two choices lie before you. 1, ignore the signs, keep scrolling, keep slaving, keep begging for crumbs from a dying king. Let the 49th year pass as a meme, a conspiracy, a dream, until the reset hits like a fist, and you wake up in a world you didn't choose. 2, step into your dynasty. The Watchers fell for this moment. The Essenes died for it. Moses saw it. You are it. The calendar's countdown isn't a threat. It's an invitation to cancel debts, to free prisoners, to reboot existence. You don't need permission, you need courage to press reset. This is why they hid the Book of Jubilees, not to protect you, to protect themselves. But the 49th year is irreversible. The clock can't be stopped. The cycle won't be broken, and when the final second falls, you hold the hammer. You choose the world. Will you build cages or shred them? worship algorithms or unplug them, serve empires or burn them down. The Watcher's legacy isn't a curse, it's a call to arms. And the clock, time is up.